Hey there. So, as is often the case, I'm waiting for things to happen, things to arrive so I can finish off projects. In this case, the Fenderish guitar, because I don't know the order in which you're going to watch these. At this point in time, in real history here, in the Monster Guitars workshop, the Fenderish guitar is almost done. I'm just waiting for a plug cutter to arrive so I can finish off plugging the old screw holes. Yeah. So, while that's going on, let's take a trip back in time. Well, back in time for me anyway, because while that guitar was being made, another guitar was being made. It's still not finished. Ooh, I don't want to show you too much of it because that'll spoil the video. It's quite a nice guitar though. I didn't have a name at the time of the videos that you're about to see, but I've taken to calling it Broken Elm, which is quite a cool name, I think, and you'll see why. One mistake I persistently made in the video, though, was a mistake of reference. You see, the wood on the back of this guitar is Rimu, but it came from a wardrobe, an old wardrobe that I recycled, and all the other parts of the wardrobe were oak. So I referred to the wood on the back of the guitar as oak. It's not oak. Anyway, minor issues. On with the show. Although this place looks pretty messy still, trust me, I am in the middle of beginning to really tidy up in here. As you can see by my initial efforts on the floor, there are still a couple of things I need to get rid of. Look, we'll get there. But I've been distracted, as I am wont to do. I have been distracted by this piece of elm. I got a pile of elm a while ago, and they cut this piece off, and they figured they might throw it away. I said, no, don't throw it away. Give it to me. I might be able to do something with it. And I'm pretty sure I can. And not in spite of the fact that it's damaged, probably because of the fact that it's damaged in the way it is. That could be especially lovely. It's got enough, I think, I'll find out if I'm wrong, but it's got enough overall solidity and stability. And at some point in working with this, I will probably have to stabilize that with maybe some resin. That's a common way of doing such things, and that could work. But let's see where this goes. I still have a lot of work to do on my planing skills. That's not bad. I've made one edge. I'm trying to do this. I'm not a purist about being low technology. I think machines are great and they're here to help. They've saved us a lot of effort. But I am trying to, just for the fun of it, take a low-tech approach to this. So I haven't put this across the jointer. I've planed it. And now I'll take it to the bandsaw and run this side along the fence and cut off the other edge, which is, I'm panting because planing is work. Take this to the bandsaw, run that side along the fence and cut off the other edge, which is a bit ragged, thus cutting it straight. Right, so that edge was pretty straight because I've been planing it, which means that if this blade cuts straight, and it's starting to no longer be as sharp as I would like, but it cuts reasonably sharp. Elm isn't the hardest of woods, so it's not too much work for the saw. So I aligned the wood with the blade so that it was just cutting off the edge, which was a bit not straight. It was a bit jagged, not quite jagged either. It was a bit messy. I pushed it on through. The piece that I've cut off has fallen off the end of the table, so I can't grab that just now. For the side that I will initially sit the wood on as it goes through the thicknessing planer, I've taken to it with a hand plane and just made sure there were no obvious high points. So it's reasonably flat, but not perfect. has shaken up a lot of the small broken bits in the gap that are going to fall out, and that's fine, they need to fall out, I guess. Now, obviously, well, I think it's obvious, the thing that I ought to do with this is split it down the middle. That will make an amazing symmetry. So I will book match this. But it's getting dark, it's winter, and even though it isn't that late, it feels somewhat antisocial in my neighbourhood to be making noise after dark. So I'll stop now and I'll cut this in half, maybe tomorrow. This could go well, or it could go terribly. It'll go terribly if there's not enough stability in this to cut it in half, to split it without destroying it. And if there's not, well then there's not. We'll find out. Well, that went as well as I might have hoped. See, my blade is drifting slightly. It's not straight. And that's, well, it's a symptom of it getting blunt, is what that is. But that's great. That has done exactly what I hoped. And I think I would book match it that way. Kind of like a butterfly. Well, not really. Maybe a pair of lungs. And I will use resin, so all those gaps will be filled up. Excellent, excellent. That could look really effective. I still don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll think about that. I'll put this on hold and start recording again once I know what I'm doing. Some of this is getting quite unstable, so I'm going to put some tape behind that just for now as a hopeful temporary measure. Now, where's my tape? Okay, so I'll try and do this with one hand. Oh, there it goes. Right, now I'll thickness these a little more. I don't want to do too much thicknessing because I run the risk of damaging something quite fragile. The remaining perfecting I can do with sanding. So I'm planing the edges of those book-matched pieces nice and flat for jointing together. And the way, what you saw me doing there is, the side of the plane is very flat. So it's a good way, I won't be holding it very well just now, but it's a good way of checking to see if there's any light shining through and if you've got a nice flat edge on the wood that you're planing. Alright, so the next step, I guess, is to glue this up. So there are the two pieces glued together. The part that I'm least happy with is this part in the middle, where there wasn't a lot of pressure exerted holding those two bits together. So there's a slight gap there. And that's because even though I had a clamp in the middle exerting pressure across the piece, of course there are these big gaps here. So that clamp wasn't really holding these middle bits together very well, and I'm not sure how I might have done that, but it is what it is. The resin will fill anything like that. I'll make sure it does. I'll put it there. But of course the bulk of the resin will go into the into the rather wide cracks around these pieces, and of course the cracks all over them as well, and really strengthen that. Okay, so I've taped all over the back. Anywhere where it looked like resin might get through, I've taped it up. I've got plastic wrap on the surface where this is sitting, just in case any does get through. And I'm going to clamp the piece down fairly flat because it'll be more rigid and less prone to bend once the resin has cured. And then once I've poured the resin in, I will then well, this will be wrapped in plastic as well, otherwise it'll just stick. I'll put down this piece of plywood as a caul and clamp that to hold the piece down as flat as possible, and then leave it probably for a couple of days to cure. Now, I may not have enough resin here just now to do the whole job, but I'll get started, and when I buy more, I'll get the same brand. And you know, it does no harm to layer more resin on later if it's exactly the same substance. Now I should grab a stick so I can stir this. I want to get every last drop of the hardener out because it's the hardener that I might not have enough of to make up enough of the resin. Yeah, and I probably won't have enough to do the whole job. I'm a little bit impatient. I like to be able to do things in one fell swoop, but we'll live. Yeah. I've got it on me. Oh, very good. I'll scrape it off later. You can't quite see it from where you are, but there's a particular piece of damage that I want to get fixed. That's right here. Alright, and I'm not going to get much further than that. So I'll clamp this down for now, and then I'll get some more of this stuff in the coming week, and then come back and continue the job. Alright, I have more epoxy. Doesn't matter if I have too much, I just don't want too little. So I'm going to use the whole of this, which is likely to be too much. I'm just aware of how much the other stuff, the previous lot, soaked in. A little more than I thought it would. So I figured I would go with more rather than less. It does look effective, doesn't it? So, to see how this will look under a clear coat or under oil or under anything, I'm just putting some white spirits down on it. Of course, the beauty of that, unlike oil, which I used on a previous guitar when I did this, is that you don't have to clean it off. It will dry before very long at all. There's a pencil line running along there. I have been experimenting with possible guitar shapes, but that looks pretty good. Pretty darn good. I like that, and you can obviously see through it, but you won't see through it when it's on the guitar because there will be a body or a back behind that. I will sand it more finely when it's on a guitar, but that has gone pretty much as well as I'd hoped. There is a little hole there, It doesn't go all the way through. I could fill that further, but I'm going to wait until I know what shape the guitar will be and what hardware will go on it. I might not need to, I might not want to, we'll wait and see. Great, let's make this into a guitar.